Hello, everyone, and welcome into Extra Time, a very special edition of Extra Time.
Was that hello? Did you say hello?
Did I sound a bit English there?
You did, yes.
I think that's what happens when you live in London for 3 years now. But we are in Paris. That is the important thing. Building up for the Champions League final, Real Madrid against Liverpool. I'm here with Gab Marcotti and Stuart Robson. The Eiffel Tower is our special guest in the background, guys. So let's get some questions in, shall we? From Nadam's interior decorator.
Ooh.
For Robbo, who will be the X factor for both teams in the game on Saturday?
The X factor. Well, you can only talk about Benzema for Real Madrid because obviously he's been their star player, and when he hasn't played, Real Madrid don't look the same side. He's the player that will come off. He'll link up the play. He'll score goals. He'll play little 1-2s with Vinicius Junior. He'll defend from the front as well. So he's going to be obviously the star man. For Liverpool, I think the star man has to be their holding midfield player, who could be Henderson. He's got to do a lot of jobs in that holding role, so he's going to be their star player. If they want to win the game, he's going to have to play well.
Wow, I didn't expect Hendo as an X factor.
No, neither did I. I thought you were going to go Trent,
No disrespect to Hendo. What a captain.
No, I thought I'd go slightly differently.
He loves going rogue.
All right, can I mention the two goalkeepers because we haven't mentioned
No.
You're right.
once. I think they're arguably the two best goalkeepers in the world. I mean, you put Oblak in there if you like, but whatever. I think most would have him in their top three.
Oh, wow.
And for me, in one-off games, we've seen this happen time and again. A goalkeeper who stands on his head, to use some hockey parlance, can make all the difference. This can actually be all about that. And you've got two of the very best out there.
Well, because the last time these two played in the Cup final, it was the goalkeeper that made a complete mess up for Liverpool, wasn't it? Karius.
Yeah.
Loris Karius, yeah. You
Who's
had to
absolutely
bring that
now.
up. Liverpool fans have just forgotten that there's a man named
But
Loris
you talked
Karius.
about goalkeepers, you talked about the final, you talked about these two clubs.
Yeah.
There's the man who made the mistakes. So it's your point.
That's the difference.
He's been pumping in the gym, though. He's absolutely swole now. Have you seen him recently?
He's on the Fernando Torres.
He's
plan.
on that Fernando Torres diet. Jeez. All right, let's move on. Moses Goldsmith wants to know, does the Erling Haaland transfer to Manchester City win them the quadruple next season?
No, it doesn't. You gotta go and play the games. Does it make them better? Of course it makes them better. But this thing, they won the Premier League title by a single point this season. They have a defense where everybody's injured at the end of the season, just about. Ruben Diaz, Walker. Who knows what condition they're going to be in next season? Who knows? You got a whole bunch of guys with their contracts winding out. They got some big decisions to make over the summer. Fernandinho's gone. He's going to have to be replaced. I mean, all these things coming together. Guys, that's not how football works. You can't just take a great team, add a great player, and say, oh, yeah, give him the quadruple.
Bravo, I already know that you're choosing Liverpool to win the title next season in our very, 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 very early predictions. But surely Haaland adds that extra.
Of course he does. Yeah, Gab's absolutely right. Of course he does add that little extra bit. But as you just said, there was games at the end of the season where, and the Real Madrid game, where Man City crumbled to a certain degree against Atletico Madrid. They were bullied in that game and could have easily gone out in the second leg. So there was just,
Such a
I would
good
say,
game.
chinks in their armour, I would say, for Man City. They're a good team. Haaland will make them better, but I think it doesn't mean they're going to win the quadruple by any means.
I'm wondering, when you talked about how they got bullied, I was wondering if you're going to stray into Patrice Evra territory and talk about lack of personality, because Pep doesn't like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Michael asks, for Gab, start one, bench one, sell one. Or you can rank them best to worst. But looking at these three names, I don't even think there's a worst. Ready? Franco Baresi, Paolo Maldini, or Fabio Cannavaro. Whoo!
I don't think there's a correct answer to this one.
We can't rank them from worst because I don't think any of those names, like I said, are worst. But if you have to start one, bench one, or sell one in Gab Marcotti United.
I would start Paolo Maldini. And I'll tell you why I would start Paolo Maldini. Simply because he's more handsome than Franco Baresi.
But then Fabio Cannavaro?
Not my type. No, that's not the point. No.
What is Gab's type? What is your type? Paolo Maldini.
He once said to me that Alisson was the best looking goalkeeper in the world. Did you not say that?
He's very handsome.
Kevin Trapp?
Yeah. Anyway, back to your question.
We strayed.
Listen, I think you're talking about, obviously, I put Baresi and Maldini a notch above Cannavaro simply because of their technical ability on the pitch.
Okay.
And out of the three, I would put Maldini.
Who was the best leader?
You could argue it was Baresi, his sense of positioning, but then, Maldini wasn't a shabby leader either.
No.
By the end, neither was Cannavaro. For me, Maldini's got the size. I think technically,
Yep.
he's on a par with Baresi. Baresi, his positioning, was what set him apart. Oh, one of the many things that set him apart.
Yeah.
People used to say it was like he was being remote controlled by God when he was on the pitch. So like, but if you're forcing me, I would start Maldini, bench Baresi, which feels like heresy.
I know.
Saying that, and sell Cannavaro, which is even worse. I wouldn't do that.
Sell Cannavaro to. Anyways, Y Casa asks, which club from Italy will have the best chance to make it to the Champions League final next year? Robbo, let's start with you on that one.
Oh, the Champions League final.
Yeah.
Well, at
impressing?
the moment, you wouldn't say any of them because Juventus could be better next year. They've got to rebuild. They've got a lot of players that I'm not quite sure about. Inter, I think, are a good team, but again, I think they need somebody to play up front that's slightly better than Dzeko. Milan, I don't think are going to do it in the Champions League. They're a good side, very good side, but I don't think they've got that X factor that's going to take them to where Liverpool and Real Madrid are at the moment. So
I'm surprised you didn't pick the only club that beat one of these two finalists in their house this season and played them to a standstill at home while losing 2-0. And that's Inter.
yeah,
For me, like, I think it's a long shot for all of them. For me, with Inter, I've been so impressed by the job Simone Inzaghi has done this season, and the fact that they could take on a team like Liverpool with no fear. If you remember that first leg, they lost 2-0 at home, but I thought they definitely had the upper hand.
I commentated on that game, and you're absolutely right. Particularly in the second half, but you always felt as though Inter were having to play at 100%. The players were absolutely shattered come the end of the game, and Liverpool had that extra gear.
But the question is not which of these sides are better than Liverpool, because none of them are.
No.
The question is who has the best chance.
To get to the final.
Simone Inzaghi, the way he can change things around in terms of his approach, the way he interprets the game, the fact, for me, I think we all agree, Liverpool and Man City won in 1A this season. The fact that he could go and take them on in that way, if you have to pick a side, for me it's Inter.
Have a look at the Eiffel Tower behind us, guys. Oh,
Without falling off the chairs.
without falling off the chairs. They are a bit wobbly, but it doesn't get better than this. It's probably the best extra time you guys will get. Let's move on to the next question from Enzo. Ooh, this is a tough question. Is Kevin De Bruyne the greatest Premier League midfielder ever? Gasps in Paul Scholes, but ever. Stop it, I know.
Okay, this is where you have to, I always had a soft spot for Roy Keane as a player.
True.
You think back to those great Arsenal teams.
Vieira, yeah.
Patrick Vieira. But they're different players. So if you talk about attacking midfielders, I struggle to, and then football's changed a little because those great United sides, it was more about 4-4-2 and a line. So, you mentioned Scholes. Some people really thought he was exceptional. But, what he was asked to do is very different from what Kevin De Bruyne is asked to do. For me, put all those things together, think of the longevity De Bruyne has had as well in the Premier League, I would go Kevin De Bruyne. I think that's legit.
I played against a brilliant passer of the ball in Glenn Hoddle.
I thought you were going to say Kevin De Bruyne.
And Kevin De Bruyne can pass the ball just as well as Glenn Hoddle, but he can also run with the ball. He can make chances. He can score goals. Glenn Hoddle couldn't do that.
Glenn Hoddle had far better hair, though.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
So Kevin De Bruyne, for me, does things that no other midfield players can do at times. He picks out passes that, even when you're watching the TV, you don't always see. He's a magnificent player, probably the best midfield player in the Premier League.
Wow, fair play. I thought that
history.
That was an easier question to answer than I thought, guys. Interesting. Oh, London's finest. Oh, this one's for me. Alexis, do you regret signing with Manchester United? I wish that I signed for them one day. But no, I'm sticking to my guns, guys. I'm sticking to my guns. They made me want to regret signing for them or supporting them, I suppose. But look, I ended up supporting Manchester United many moons ago because
when they were top.
Because
they were at the top.
Because Dwight York played for them and I was looking for my fellow Caribbean person. A lot of people from Jamaica support Liverpool because of John Barnes, and I wanted to be different, so I chose Dwight York. Of course, he's from Tobago, but still my fellow Caribeño, so I decided to go with him.
Couldn't support whoever Russell Latifi was playing for?
So, just let me choose Yorkie, who's, by the way, a nice good friend of mine now.
What about Shaka? Shaka was a Carib from Trinidad and Tobago. Why not him? Why not Newcastle or West Ham or whoever else he played for?
Too much. Shaka, we couldn't keep up with you, man. Shaka was just everywhere.
He'd have given you a drive in that.
What was it? Ferrari?
Not Ferrari. What's the other Italian mate?
Porsche.
Maserati. Yeah.
Shaka's Maserati, guys. He used to pull up to pick up his kids at school in a Maserati. One day, if you find him, stop him, let him tell you that story. He denies it, though. He still denies it.
Absolutely, he does deny
He
it.
insists it was more of a modest car. Like
It wasn't so much the Maserati, it was the Shaka number plate on the back.
Oh, Shaka went for the Maserati and Shaka on the back. Jeez, you're right. Now that I'm looking back on this, I probably should have supported just whomever Shaka played with. But then I'd end up supporting like 10 clubs.
Yeah, well, he was a good goalkeeper.
He was a great goalkeeper, Shaka. We do love you. But no, I don't regret supporting Manchester United, but they do make me want to regret supporting them. I'm not going to lie. This last season, given the resources United still have,
where are they going to end up next season then? Where are they going to end up next season?
I would just be happy to make the Conference League next season, to be honest. Based on the level of horrendous toilet we've seen this season, I will be happy. I'll just be happy to make the Europa League again. That's what I've been reduced to. So let's move on before I start crying, guys. Saif Salim asks, question for Robbo. Now that Barcelona have signed Franck Kessie from AC Milan, what kind of profile will he bring to this Barcelona side? Can he play in that Busquets role, or is he more of an attacking midfield option for Barca?
Well, he's played in several different roles in Milan's midfield. I don't think he's an out-and-out holding midfield player because I think he's got too much quality for that. I think it's difficult. I think he'll play on one side of a holding midfield player, probably on the left-hand side, because he's good on the ball, he can make forward runs, he can shield the ball. He's good defensively, but I don't think he's an out-and-out defensive midfield player. I think he'll play in one of the roles either side of a holding midfield player, whoever that might be.
Gab, you have to chime in on this.
It's an interesting one. I don't think he's the heir to Busquets either. He just has a different skill set. He could grow into that, probably, but he's not there yet. It's not what he does. I think I could see Barcelona next season maybe having a 4 or 5 player almost rotation in midfield, because obviously you've got Pedri in the mix, you've got Gavi, and you've got Frankie de Jong as well. And I think there's going to be certain situations against teams that shut up shop where you want a physical player with quality making those late runs into the box to pick up cutbacks and whatnot.
Because there was a period earlier in the season for Milan where he was playing almost as the number 10, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he's making runs into the box.
He's played as a number. He's done that too. A lot of people are also going to speculate that Frankie de Jong, who is perhaps a saleable asset, that he could be moving on. Would Kessie be a replacement? Different sorts of players, but then given the way Frankie de Jong performed last season, I think Kessie would be an upgrade. But again, I think Barcelona's plan is to try to keep de Jong and keep Kessie and have that kind of depth in the middle of the park.
Final 2 questions now, because trust me, they are massively important. Abu Dakir wants to know, Gab, is the Italian food in Paris better than the Italian food in London?
That's a really good question.
I've never had Italian food here, but there's a lot of good Italian food places in London.
I think you can get the greatest chefs and export the greatest techniques, but you need to have the raw material. You need to have the greatest produce. And sorry, England, there's far better produce in France.
But the one thing you can't do when you go to an Italian restaurant, and Gab has told this to us many, many times, you don't look at the menu. Oh. They tell you what they're going to cook you. Is that right, Gab?
It depends what kind of restaurant you're in, but if you're in certain types of restaurants, it's pretty obvious you're a fool if you just start studying the menu. I mean, come on.
And you order lasagna.
Well, whatever. You're not at the Olive Garden here, right?
Olive Garden has some good breadsticks, though.
That's fine, but you want to ask them, hey, what are you excited about today? And they tell you, and you order that. Then that's how you do it in certain types of restaurants. You don't sit there and look at the... Yeah, let's not bring that up. That brings back bad memories.
He gets angry.
That was another Champions League little soiree.
In Milan, yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, Gab's got to take us to an Italian place in Paris. Who would have thought? Final question now for Gab as well. Your favorite gelato? All the food questions going to Gab, man. I'm jealous.
My favorite ice cream?
Yeah, your favorite flavor, I suppose, of gelato? We found out Nate.
Yeah, I like Amarena. It's black cherry.
Oh, that's a bit rogue.
It's not. It's very common in Italy.
Oh, that's true. I'm not Italian, so I wouldn't know.
I mean,
you
did ask about gelato, but
there's a little story about gelato with Ian Dark. He wanted us to go to Lake Como, which we did, and we had this lovely meal. And at the end of it, he said, "What gelatos do you do?" The woman came out, the waitress came out, and mentioned 20 gelatos. Banana wasn't one of them, and he said, and as you can imagine, then he said, "Can I have a banana one, please?" And then got upset that upset they didn't have it.
What is he, like 6? What is banana ice cream?
That's the story. That's what he
Banana
did.
gelato popular in Italy.
No. I mean, it's like something a child would eat.
I mean,
no,
he got the raving hump that they didn't have it.
If you're going to go fruit, you know, you can go strawberry, you can go raspberry, some nice varieties of melon. You don't really go banana for ice cream.
Doesn't that make it more sorbet?
No, because it's still gelato. You
still
still have the
gelato.
cream and whatever. Sorbet is something completely
Fair.
different.
I
Yeah.
like pistachio gelato. I had some in Bologna, and to this day,
Oh,
I don't
Bologna,
think I've
very
ever
nice.
had a better, I guess, dessert. Oh my days, Bologna, call me back, let me come. Right?
Bologna's a nice place.
Bologna is a great place to eat. Gab, does it get your seal of approval?
Bologna is one of the culinary capitals of Italy. From the eating perspective, yes. Bologna.
Tortellini.
What
and
about this,
brodo.
Gab? I'm going to a wedding in Ostuni. Is that is that good?
I have never been there. I'm sure it's
Near Puglia.
I'm told it's a beautiful place. I've been to Puglia.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. You need to have orecchiette pasta
Okay.
Ooh.
with cime di rapa. You might know them as broccoli rabe.
You might need to write that down for me.
Right, we'll wrap things up there then. We're going to get some more food recommendations from Gab. He's got to take us for that expensive dinner so we can look at the gorgeous Eiffel Tower behind us. But thank you guys so much for your questions. Make sure to join us again tomorrow for more ESPN FC. Frank Leboeuf will be joining us as we continue our build-up to the UEFA Champions League final right here in Paris.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.